When a kiss rekindles hope and shadows gather, Coronation Street at a crossroads. The cobbled streets of Weatherfield have always been a mirror to the human condition, reflecting love, betrayal, resilience, and the quiet desperation that often lives just beneath everyday routine. But as Coronation Street moves into a new narrative phase, those familiar stones are bearing witness to a profound shift in emotional gravity. What unfolds now is not merely a sequence of plot twists, but a carefully interwoven tapestry of reconciliation, unresolved trauma, and an encroaching sense of dread. At the heart of this transformation lies a moment both intimate and seismic, a kiss between Lisa and Carla that has sent shockwaves through the fanbase and reignited one of the show's most complex and beloved relationships. Yet even as romance flickers back to life, darker forces loom nearby, reminding viewers that in Weatherfield, happiness is rarely unchallenged, and peace is often fleeting. A love tested by manipulation and time, the relationship between Lisa and Carla has never been simple. From its inception, it has been defined not by ease, but by endurance. Their bond weathered emotional manipulation, external interference, and long periods of estrangement, each obstacle carving deeper emotional fault lines between them. For months, the most corrosive presence in their lives was Becky, a master manipulator whose calculated deceptions worked relentlessly to keep the pair apart. Becky did not merely exploit existing insecurities, she actively engineered misunderstandings, turning moments of vulnerability into weapons. Her influence cast a long shadow over Lisa and Carla's attempts at reconnection, fostering doubt where trust once lived. That shadow, however, finally lifted with Becky's incarceration. Her removal from the equation marked not just the end of a storyline, but the collapse of a psychological siege. For the first time in months, Lisa and Carla were left alone with the truth of their feelings, unfiltered, unmediated, and impossible to ignore. Yet freedom from manipulation does not instantly restore what was broken. Betsy, the unexpected architect of healing, into this fragile emotional landscape stepped Betsy, an unlikely but pivotal catalyst for reconciliation. Where others hesitated, Betsy acted with clarity born of intuition and love. Recognizing that the bond between her mother and Carla had never truly dissolved, she refused to accept the narrative of finality that had settled around them. Betsy's campaign to mend the rift was not loud or confrontational. Instead, it unfolded through small, deliberate gestures, carefully chosen words, moments engineered for honesty, and a steadfast belief that family, once forged, does not simply disappear. Her motivation was deeply personal, the hope that the three of them, herself, Lisa, and Carla, could once again exist not as fractured individuals, but as a functioning unit. In many ways, Betsy became the emotional conscience of the storyline, articulating what others were too wounded to say aloud. She reminded Lisa and Carla of who they had been before fear and mistrust took hold, and who they still might become. Love remains, but trust is fragile. Despite renewed proximity and undeniable affection, the road back to each other proved anything but smooth. Old wounds reopened easily, and unresolved misunderstandings continued to sabotage progress. One such moment unfolded at the bistro, a missed lunch date that spiraled into something far more destructive. What began as disappointment quickly escalated into an alcohol-fueled confrontation, exposing just how brittle the foundation beneath them remained. Love, it was clear, had survived. Trust, however, was still dangerously thin. That scene served as a sobering reminder that reconciliation is not a single moment of passion, but a sustained act of vulnerability. It also underscored Coronation Street's enduring strength, its refusal to romanticize healing. Instead, it portrays recovery as messy, non-linear, and often painful. A promise of springtime romance. Still, there is hope. Producers have hinted that the coming spring will usher in a period of romance and emotional relief, an intentional tonal shift following months of psychological tension. With Becky's deception now firmly in the past, the narrative lens turns inward, focusing on stability, rediscovery, and the slow rebuilding of trust, For Lisa and Carla, this means space to reconnect not through grand gestures, but through the rhythms of daily life, conversations over drinks at the Rovers, shared glances across the underworld factory floor, and moments of quiet understanding amid the chaos of Weatherfield. Their reunion, if it fully materializes, will not be framed as a fairy tale ending. Instead, it promises to be something far more resonant, a mature, hard-won reconnection rooted in choice rather than circumstance. A dark cloud over number 8. While romance tentatively blooms for some, a far darker narrative unfolds behind the door of number 8. Shona Platt, a cornerstone of the Coronation Street community since 2016, finds herself at the center of a chilling new mystery, one that threatens not only her future, but her life. Following a traumatic medical emergency that required high-risk surgery to save her unborn child, Shona returned home seeking peace, stability, and recovery. What she found instead was Jodie. Shona's long-estranged half-sister re-entered her life with an intensity that quickly unsettled both characters and viewers alike. Initially framed as a reconnection long overdue, Jodie's presence soon began to feel intrusive, then alarming. The past refuses to stay buried. Producer Kate Brooks has stated that Jodie was introduced specifically to unlock Shona's backstory, and indeed, her arrival peeled back layers of history that had long remained unexplored. But as the narrative progressed, that exploration took on a distinctly ominous tone. Bruises appeared without explanation. Phone calls went unanswered. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Fans began to notice the signs, small, unsettling details that hinted at something deeply wrong. Speculation exploded online. Was Jodie hiding something? Was her past truly as benign as she claimed? And most chilling of all, was Shona in danger? Adding to the unease is Jodie's mysterious history, including a dramatic escape from a kidnapping that left more questions than answers. Rather than inspiring sympathy, this backstory has fueled suspicion, leading many viewers to fear that Shona's attempt to reconnect with her past may come at a devastating cost. A community holds its breath. As the tension surrounding Shona intensifies, Coronation Street once again demonstrates its mastery of slow-burn suspense. Rather than relying on shock alone, the storyline builds unease through atmosphere, through the quiet moments where danger feels close but unseen. The question is no longer whether something will happen, but when, and to whom. The Doctor Who won't stay. In a rare moment of narrative closure, one mystery has already been resolved. Dr. Vincent Harper, the surgeon who became an overnight sensation after saving Shona's baby, will not be making a permanent move to Weatherfield. Despite the richness of his backstory and the immediate impact of his presence, it has been confirmed that his role was always intended to be temporary. For viewers who had hoped to see more of him, the confirmation is bittersweet. His departure closes one chapter even as it reinforces a core truth of Coronation Street: not everyone who passes through Weatherfield is meant to stay. A White Lotus-style mystery begins. As familiar faces exit and relationships shift, a new narrative engine roars to life. The street is bracing itself for the discovery of a dead body, an ambitious new arc designed to keep audiences guessing. Unlike the long, sprawling whodunits of the past, this mystery promises to be tightly plotted, fast-paced, and psychologically charged. 5 potential victims. Countless secrets. And a community where everyone has something to hide. The storyline draws inspiration from prestige ensemble mysteries, leaning into misdirection and moral ambiguity. Over the coming months, viewers will be invited to question every motive, re-examine every interaction, and confront the uncomfortable reality that danger in Weatherfield often comes from within. The calm before the storm. As Coronation Street stands at this narrative crossroads, one truth remains as constant as the cobblestones themselves: peace is never permanent. Love may rekindle, families may attempt to heal. But beneath the surface, old wounds fester, secrets simmer, and storms gather strength. In Weatherfield, the calm is never an ending, only a pause. And as viewers settle in for what promises to be a thrilling, emotionally charged season, one thing is certain: the street is about to change once again. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more movie spoilers next week. Goodbye, and see you again.